Welcome to your video notes from Tuesday, August 8th. If you were unable to attend class, this is just a little bit of what we went through and what you missed. So you can use this to get the notes explained, and you can also use this as well to help you get the notes filled in. So we began our discussion over controlled experiments, which is really one of the main parts of the heart of science when we're talking about inquiry, the scientific method. We have to do controlled experiments. When we talk about controlled experiments, we're talking about only controlling or manipulating one variable at a time. And the reason we do that is because we want to make sure when we get to the end of our experiment that we know what our results are and know that our results are in fact because of the one item that we changed or manipulated. That is known as the independent variable, which we'll talk about later, or also sometimes called the manipulated variable. But at the heart of any good controlled experiment, it always starts with a really good scientific observation. So observations can be anything that's using one of your senses. So we have sight, smell, touch, hear, and taste. We try to avoid the taste one, at least in class, just because of safety issues and cleanliness issues with having people, lick things or taste things. So in science class, we're going to stick to just the other four. So as you're using those senses, you're gaining information about what's going on around you. You can then take that information and turn it into data. It will either be known as quantitative data or qualitative data. Quantitative is going to be based on numbers, hence the word quantitative, quantity. So I can see 10 buses. So if I see buses and I count the buses and I see there's 10, that's quantitative data. I can take it a step further and do qualitative data where I describe the buses instead of count them. I see yellow buses. And if you're getting really fancy, you can take them both and combine them together and you get I see 10 yellow buses. Once you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, whatever your observation is, you can then take that observation and that data and you can try to infer why you are seeing or hearing or tasting or touching or smelling what you are. So it's trying to explain what you just observed. And we do this all the time. If you see a friend, this is your example, if I see a friend and then we're getting our test back and they're smiling, I can infer that they just got a good grade on their test. And it can be, again, I see 10 yellow buses. Okay, why do I see 10 yellow buses? It must be the end of the school day. That's why the buses are here. So I can try to explain what I just saw, heard, touched, etc. At this point on Tuesday, this is where our notes stopped, and I took a little bit of time to explain how our vocab is done in 8th grade. So this image that you're seeing right here can be found under Google Classroom, and our first 5 vocab words for this unit are controlled experiment, observation, inference, quantitative data, and qualitative data. So for each one of those words in your lab notebook, you're going to write it down, and then you're just going to tell me what the definition is. Don't use Google, okay? Use your notes, and eventually we'll use your Discovery Education tech book as well. The Google definition will be more complicated than what we're using in class. Once you've established your definitions, then you're going to move to part 2. Oh, where'd it go? Bring it back. There we go. This is where we are going to look at showing understanding of the vocab word. So for this, you have 4 options. You can draw a picture that shows understanding, which you see example over here at the bottom using volume. You can list 2 examples that relate back to your vocab word. You can do acrostic, which is where you take the vocab letters and you put them vertically, and then you use a word or a statement to try to describe what you just learned from the definition. Or you can do word art, which you see here, where it's taking the word itself, the word for the vocab, and turning into art that shows what it means. Since there are 5 vocab words this time, you're going to use all 4 of the part 2s once, and then the 5th one is your choice. And like I said, all this will be going in your vocab. All the vocab will be going in your lab notebook, which you can find the link here that shows what pages everything should be on. And that is the conclusion of what we worked on in class on Tuesday, August 8th.